Just before starting this video, I want to give a huge shout out to Rogue Hero. He just got hacked a few days ago just like me and got finally his account back today. So yeah, please go show him some love and support. His channel link will be in the description box below. But yeah, anyways, this weekend was the Remote Duel YCS 2022 that I actually participated in. And all I can tell you was it was one hell of a learning lesson for me. Of course, you already know it. I wanted to play tier elements for that YCS, but on top of that, I also added Kashtira cards to the mix. Essentially, I wanted to play Unicorn and Birth and Fenrir because if I draw Unicorn and I get hit by a Bestial in a tier elements mirror match, I make my opponent lose their one and only Kin Kalos because for some reason everybody is only playing one Kin Kalos and they're really getting punished by cards like Unicorn, Diablosis, or anything else that can make them banish a card from the extra deck. Sadly, this reasoning didn't really pay off because that play never actually came up. As a matter of fact, I was losing a lot of dice rolls and the Kashtira cards were always drawn going second when I also had Bestials and like Halphinus, so I'd be summoning monsters on my opponent's turn, and then I would be looking at my dead Kashtira monsters, and they were doing nothing. I really thought that my opponents would do everything in their power to clear my monsters before I even start my turn, so that at least my Kashtira monsters can be summoned, but no. Instead of that, the Kashtira monsters were just dead cards, and it wasn't really fun. Now, that doesn't mean that the Kashtira cards were bad or anything, because if I were going first and I drew Unicorn, and I milled a Fenrir, oh, better believe I was destroying people. Now, one funny thing that actually kind of makes no sense is that I actually bricked way more than I thought, because I'll be drawing hands where my only play was like summon a Kashtira monster, get a search, and then do nothing else. And yeah, that also wasn't really fun. I think I could have circumvented that by playing 3 copies of a Guido, which is definitely a consistency card, even though it does help my opponent, unfortunately. But yeah, if you have any form of experience with tier elements, you would know that the brickiest card in the deck has to be Mudora, because if you draw it with like no Keldo or anything at all, and you can't really use its effect to like discard a Kelbeck or a Guido, you're not doing anything with the card. So yeah, if anything, I would swap the Kashtira cards with more engine cards just to ensure that I never really brick. And again, my issue wasn't the fact that the Kashtira cards were bad, it's just that they kind of didn't really synergize too well with the Bestials because I always had monsters on the board on turn 0. And like I keep repeating every single 2 seconds, I was losing a lot of dice rolls, so I was going second very, very often, and when I went first, I bricked way more than I really thought I would. As for my side deck, I never actually go into time, like, ever at all, so Ghost Sister was completely useless, and actually I think it's like my 3rd YCS where I'm basically playing with like 3 useless cards in my side deck. I really have to start swapping them for like generic staples so that I can actually answer more strategies because I feel like I didn't have enough cards for my bad matchups. Oh, and I've learned something extremely crucial that I will never forget. Never ever side deck back removal when there is no real back row deck in the format. I mean, think about it, who the hell is playing Eldritch in 2022? I'll give you a hint. Absolutely nobody. Now, even outside of deck building, there are a bunch of things that I completely regret. Because of a few factors, Remote Duel YCSs are kind of like extremely impossible to take seriously. First of all, the stakes are low, you kind of feel like you have nothing to lose outside of your time because you're not really spending, I don't know, like $500 on a plane ticket and like several $100s on, you know, food, hotel, etc. Therefore, misplaying is more of a possibility because you're not really in your best mindset. Also, the ridiculous 1-hour delay in between rounds was making me absolutely crazy. Literally freaking 12 or 13 hours for 8 rounds of a YCS, like bruv. I was misplaying left and right because of fatigue, something that rarely happens to me in real life. Of course, I'm not perfect, so even when I really am trying, I still misplay every now and then, but yeah, this Remote Duel YCS was on a whole other level. I should have just been more focused and also had more preparation to avoid getting all my stamina drained away from me after round 4. And again, because of the crazy wait time, 4 rounds actually took like 7 or 8 hours, which is ridiculously freaking crazy. So yeah, again, moral of the story, I should actually be a little more pessimistic in my deck building, assume that the worst will probably happen because, you know, if you lose the shifter, you at least have to have some form of backup plan. I didn't have enough of that. And, you know, respect time a little less because, honestly, I just never go into time. It's not really an issue. I know what I'm about to get destroyed. And finally, get prepared in advance so I just don't misplay out of fatigue. Now, guys, I want to know, how do you deal with, you know, fatigue and everything else in preparation in Yu-Gi-Oh! Events? Let me know your thoughts and, you know, what you do in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.